What is going on, YouTube? Working on another custom today, and today I'll be working on the Torino Stocker. Check this out. Already comes equipped with its own custom paint job. Check that out. So because of this awesome paint job that's on here, I have no idea what actual year this is, or what if it was a red one or a black one, or what exactly it was. But the Torino Stocker was first introduced in 1975 in the Flying Colors series, and they produced this from 1975 to 1986. It was designed by Larry Wood, and it was also released as the Thrill Driver Torino. Pretty cool. Some of these, if they're still carded, can fetch quite the pretty penny. Some of them being listed carded in mint condition, going up into the $200 range. So pretty cool. But I picked this up off of eBay for significantly less. But yeah, look at that. Even got a little custom paint job on the tires there. But yeah, I think we can fix this. Hopefully underneath all that paint is a nice body that won't require too much work. So first things first, we gotta take these posts out, and it doesn't take a whole lot on these older cars. And when you're drilling these posts out, just take your time and make sure you're lined up. I typically do this off the side of my workbench, but I'm trying to show you how I do it, so I figure give it a shot. But anyway, that's probably good enough. Let's take this thing apart. Oh man, check that out. Axles are bent pretty good. Alright, our glass actually looks pretty decent there. Got a little paint on there, but nothing too bad, but the glass is okay. And our interior, looks like there's a little bit of dirt there. But of note, the exact same interior is on the Monte Carlo Stocker. Monte Carlo Stocker doesn't have hood scoop, but they just leave that on there since they use them on both cars. It's probably easier that way. It actually kind of makes a lot of sense. So there we go. So far it doesn't look like it's in too bad shape, but let's drill out these posts and get some screws in there. To drill the holes for the screws, I use a 1/16 drill bit and just go really slow, making sure I'm lined up as straight as I possibly can be. So there we go. Same thing on the front, and we'll be ready for some screws. So I got the front and back both drilled out, and to hold the car together, I use 2x56 button head screws. You can find these on eBay, and they are self-tapping, so I don't tap the holes after I drill them. I just let these do the work, and it works out fantastic. I've never had an issue, and I figure it saves one step. So just like that, all set. And I use a 0.050 driver. You can find the screws and the driver over on eBay. All right, so I think we're all set. Let's go get this fantastic paint off of there. To strip the paint, I am using Citrus Strip stripping gel, and I would imagine it should do a really good job on whatever kind of paint they used on this. Looks like they kind of did a hand-painted paint job here, probably practicing a little bit, but hopefully this is able to remove that pretty quickly. It's always a good idea when dealing with paint stripper of any kind to wear gloves, and you may, depending on what you're using, want to have a respirator. Looks like the paint on the other side was red, so I'm just wondering, it might have been one of the earlier years of Torinos that was painted red. If that's the case, it's kind of unfortunate they put their own paint job on there, because I'm not into selling or really making monies off of these things, but this car may have been actually worth something before the orange paint was put on there. But the real value in Hot Wheels is being able to play with them, be it a kid or as an adult. So, at least in my opinion anyway. So there we go. Got plenty of citrus strip on there. Let that sit for a little while and let it do its job. Check that out. Looks like the citrus strip has definitely done its job. And all this paint is ready to come off there. Look at that. I think that's about as good as I'm going to get it. I'm going to go wash it off with some soap and a wire brush, and we'll see how the body looks. As it turns out, the body on this car was fantastic, and I think actually the orange paint helped preserve it. Once I got the paint off there, you could actually see the body lines on this car, which are amazing. I went over the car with some Krylon Cover Max metallic aluminum as my primer. As I let the body dry, it's time to take a look at this base and the interior. So I'm going to start with the base here, and as you can see, it's in pretty rough shape. It's got a little bit of rust on there from where the axles were. It looks like it got into a little bit of moisture at one point and kind of rusted out. Looks like a lot of the chrome came off the bottom also. The interior, though, looks pretty good. It's a little bit dirty, but nothing little soap and water can't handle. With the base and interior all cleaned up, I went ahead and painted them. So for the base, I went ahead and used Krylon Color Max metallic aluminum. If you've seen any of my videos before, you know I use this stuff quite a bit. I really like it. It covers in thin coats and works really well for what I do. So I'm really happy with the way that turned out. And I put some new shoes on there. Really like these wheels. The old black walls just weren't going to cut it, unfortunately. But I pulled these off of a Hot Wheels Classic 67 Chevy convertible. So, beautiful car. But I got some different plans for this, and I wasn't going to be keeping the same wheels on there. So I figured I would use them for this. So the wheels were a little bit narrow for this base, and I had to expand them a little bit. And this is what I used for my axles. These are bank pins, and they're pretty cool. Pretty easy to work with. But one of the cool things is they are nickel plated. So if you wanted to make some nickel plated axles, these might be what you're looking for. And the pin on there can help keep the wheels on. But on this side, you're going to have to crush it to keep it on there, or use axle tubes to help keep those wheels in place. Just an idea. Maybe you guys want to try it out. I don't know. I haven't used them for racing yet, so I'm not sure how they work, but they work pretty good for this. And for the interior, I went ahead and painted it white, and I think that's going to work well with the paint scheme I got going on for this car. So, pretty cool. Almost time to get this all put together. But before that, we got to work on this glass. So the glass really isn't in all that bad a shape, but it does have some overspray from the original paint on there. So I'm just going to take some normal rubbing compound and see if we can take that off. I mean, where this overspray is, you're not really going to be able to see it on the car, but I'll know it's there, and I'd rather have it gone. So I was able to get most of the paint off there. It turned out okay. But the glass needs a little bit of work, so we're going to bust out the flits and see if we can clean this up a little bit better. I've only used this stuff a couple times, but I've been really happy with the results, and hopefully we'll have a good outcome on this one as well. So I went over the back window and the front windshield. Let's see how it turned out. I'll just use a soft microfiber cloth to get all this stuff out. You don't want to use something very abrasive, otherwise you're going to put new nicks and scratches in there that you're going to have to clean up anyway. So a soft towel, make sure you turn it over and use different parts of the towel so it doesn't get all crusty and put scratches in there. And you can already see it's cleaned up pretty well already. Check that out. That's looking pretty good actually. So there we go. Looks like it's in pretty decent shape. I got to work with a little bit more, but I'm going to go rinse it off with some soap and water, get my big old fingerprint out of there, and then we'll go put in the gauzy. So I got the glass all cleaned up. It's looking pretty good, if I do say so myself. It's looking pretty transparent, and I still have a little bit of orange on there, but I'll figure I'll just leave that on there as a tribute to the previous paint job. But I think we can make this glass look a little bit better with some of this stuff. So it's 4 plastic pieces, and pretty much you just dunk it in there and let the runoff drip off, and just dab the sides where the buildup is, because you don't want it overloading on one side. And then you just let it sit for a while. And once done, it should look like a brand new windshield. At least that's the goal anyway. Just need to make sure it doesn't build up in those corners. That's why I just leave it to one side. Tap the side to get that excess out of there. And then after a little bit, when it all looks like a pretty even coat, just let it sit. And you want to make sure when you let this stuff sit that you cover it. So I just use a plastic cup, put it over it, and let that sit until it dries. Once that dries, I think we'll be ready to put this car all back together. All right, I got the car all put back together, and it is time for the moment of truth. Let's see how it all turned out. Oh yeah, check this out. Look at that side profile on this thing. The body lines and everything on this car are freaking awesome. I think that white paint helps bring that out. So very, very happy. And check out that glass. Looks almost brand spanking new. You can actually see down into the interior, which is pretty sweet. Very happy with the way this turned out. Pretty cool. All right, so let's go take a few closer looks. Here's what we started with. A very well played with, custom painted Ford Torino Stocker. That had pretty much been left for dead. And here is what we have now. The customs I've made, probably the most rewarding are the old beat up ones like this that I've been able to fix up and make new again. So I had a very fun time making this. This is my first time making a Ford Torino Stocker, and I absolutely love this casting. The body lines on this thing are insane, and I think I got a few plans for some future Ford Torino Stockers that I want to do. I picked these decals up off of eBay. The seller is RWNEFF1, and if you've seen any of my videos, you'll know I use his decals quite a bit. They're always top quality and easy to use, so go check out his eBay store. He's got a ton of NASCAR decals, but he's also got a bunch of old school dragster decals, which are pretty sweet. So I may be trying to make a dragster here in the near future, but go check them out. This paint scheme was actually ran in NASCAR in the early 90s and driven by none other than Jeff Gordon. Yep, that's right. When Gordon first broke into NASCAR, he was driving Fords. I know it's hard to imagine him in anything other than a Chevy, but when he first started, he was driving some Fords. So there you have it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if there's any steps in the process that you would like to see more of, please let me know and I can include that in future videos. And if you have any castings that you think might be cool to be customized, let me know. So there it is. Thank you guys for watching, and we will see you on the next one.